wanted to play some games with me, it's usually like on the bottom right corner to record like a video call, and then
Yeah.
they removed it from there, and then they moved it all the way to the bottom left. And I was like,
What?
wait, where? I was like, wait, did Skype remove like the recording feature? Um, and I'm like, y'all better recognize
That's some scandalous-ish right there.
scandalous-ish. Roman, what's going on, buddy? How's everything? Did you like my recent post with the yoga stretching or what?
I loved it. That was really nice.
That one.
I'll post today about just kind of like wrapping up my deload. I actually might wrap it up early because I'm missing lifting heavy. So I only let myself do like one like quote unquote heavy set of squats this morning for like my last deload session. So if this helps people, I'll just go over like my protocol for this past deload. My first deload session of each, so I'm doing like legs, chest and back and chest, shoulders and arms. So those are 3 different sessions, and I repeat, and I'll like kind of change around the order of some lifts. Like I do chest and back on like one upper day, and then back and chest. So like I kind of switch the order in which I do the different movements. So I focus on back one day, focus on chest the other day. So I start with that because that's like when I like my energy, my motivation, etc. is like at its peak. So I went with like very low volume, very low intensity. So both major metrics of like what you'd call just like exercise principles. I just dropped those way down. So for chest and back, I literally just did I think 4 sets of push-ups of 10 reps, something like super duper light, just so I could get like a little bit of blood flowing into the arms and into the chest, but like nothing crazy. And then I did like lat pull downs at like 70 pounds or something like that, super duper light for me. For legs, I just did like air squats. And hey Sam, and what did I do for hamstrings? I can't even think of what I did for hamstrings. For calves, I just did like standing calf raises. I only did like 10, 15 reps. I usually can do like 20 something. So like just kept it like really light, really like low weight, trying to bring the fatigue down. And then the second part of the deload, what I've done is I bring the intensity back up. So I ramp up the intensity, but I still try to stay away from like, I mean, I do stay like very far away from failure. So my like one heavy set, if you will, of squats this morning was 275 by 1, which did feel heavy, but at least in this past like block, I've done 4, and I think I can probably do like 5 or 6 before like completely like tanking it. But yeah, so that's kind of been like my strategy is drop the intensity, drop the volume for the first session, and then the second session, which kind of rounds out the week, I bring the intensity back up but keep the volume pretty low.
Yeah, I like the idea. I feel like you probably prep your deloads a little bit better than me sometimes, because for my deloads, I honestly just like, I'm just like, it's like for me, it's like I barely work out during the week. I'm like, if I get to it, I get to it. I'm like, I'm just trying to ramp up motivation / like recover like stuff that like bothers me, which I think I deloaded when I was in Chicago. And yeah, I just like even on deloads, like I'll just like, maybe I'll do like a long yoga session or some active recovery stuff. So I don't really typically do too much, but I'm glad that you have a protocol. Me, I'm more or less like not having one.
I'm just
is that a protocol not to have one?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. It's the no plan.
Yeah, it's like I don't plan, but I plan to succeed type deal. But yeah, I think Roman just misses lifting heavy weight, because I just sent him a video of me hitting 385 with no belt on deadlifts. So only if my squat was that good, or my bench.
We'll get it there, buddy.
I'm not. I mean, I you know what? I probably won't bench a lot this year, anyways, because I still think my shoulder still needs healing. I haven't benched. I've been doing a lot of more dumbbells work with shoulders and chest. like I did incline dumbbells. I worked up to a really big weight, 45 pounds in each arm, or no, 40 pounds in each arm.
Heck yeah, buddy.
But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
but I've been doing really slow and control, tight elbows to the lats, and just feeling the burn. It was funny the other day. I think I was doing like 35s to like start, or 30 pounds on each arm, and then I go to like, because we do upper and lower sessions, we don't do like kind of like body movements like Roman was saying, like chest and back. I haven't done that in a while, but like we were doing like flat bench, and like I think I was doing like 30 pounds in dumbbells, and then we moved the thing up to do like curls, or I think we did seated curls, whatever the thing was, and then I started curling 30s, and like people are like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, like this guy must be really incredibly weak at his chest and shoulders, and then for some reason his biceps are just like out of control because he's doing the same way he's doing on a dumbbell press. But it's on purpose. It does it is unmotivating doing that stuff. So don't get me wrong. Like I don't get motivated doing a lot of that stuff, but if I don't give it time to heal, I'm just gonna fuck it up some more. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing stuff like that. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm not worrying about those naysayers, those people looking at me in the gym, because when you see me doing deadlifts for 385, then they're gonna be like, "What the fuck? What? This guy just did 35 pounds on flat press, and now he's doing 385 with no belt on."
Reminds me of Ryan Crowley's Instagram. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
Did you see the video of the guy? He like tore his pec like mid incline, like he
Oh,
was going
yeah.
for like a PR. It was like 500 on incline. That's
Yeah.
Ryan Crowley. So he's since like retorn it, but he's trying to rehab it. So he's like trying to post as much as he can on like Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that. And I like try to like check in because like I learned about him like from Larry Wheels in the video, and like I don't know, I'm just like interested in like how people like try to rehab and stuff. So he'll have videos where he'll like just be like, he'll have maybe like a 50-pound like dumbbell in one arm of like the okay arm that's like, the chest is like the pec is like intact and it's like not he's like not rehabbing it, and he'll be curling it, and the other arm will be like a 5-pound dumbbell because like he doesn't want to tear it again. And like people come up and like, what are you doing type dealio, and like his whole thing is like, don't judge, you don't know like what like people are going through essentially. So he actually has some like pretty good messaging in there, but like he's obviously being like silly when he's doing it.
Yeah, and that's how it was when I first started doing, like when I first like hurt my shoulder. Like I was doing even curls like with like 30 pounds in my left arm, and then I would do like 5 or 10 in my right arm, and then I couldn't do it anymore. Like I felt like I was like about to start laughing like every time I did that. So and then people like looked at me like, what the hell is this guy doing? But no, honestly, I think I put it in my squat post. Maybe I didn't. We'll get our boy Anthony on the Gainz podcast. Anthony's he sent me he's a very big beltless fan. He's a powerlifter and coach. That Roman, he works at the same company as Roman and I. And we'll get him on the podcast, and he's very, very, very pushy when it comes to no belt, and he's been giving me jabs. We've been talking a lot more, and he's like, just don't even bring the belt to the gym. And I haven't been. I went and did squats, and like you saw from my last post, like I did 185, and 185 is usually pretty damn light for me, but when you're putting like pause squats on there and beltless, like it's just really heavy. So he's a big believer and big fan of like beltless training, and maybe someone like me needs to go back and do it for a while. Obviously, I do love using my belt still. It's not like I'm not gonna give it away and not use it forever, but yeah, but I it's also kind of test your might when it comes to your core muscles. Obviously, I excel more on deadlifts than I would on squats. So I'll keep posting it. I want to definitely keep doing a little bit more of that training where you'll have to hear it from him, but pretty much like he loves time under tension. And he even told me, like, this guy is crazy. He even told me to put, maybe 25 pounds on each side or even the bar and do the whole ABCs and then squat up. So I was just doing as long as I possibly could. I wasn't doing the ABCs in my head. But yeah, he's a big proponent of that. And, he's a competitive powerlifter, and he doesn't even put a belt on when he competes. So,
wow, really?
And he sent me a picture of him doing, well, he didn't send me a video, but a picture of 385, and he was doing sets of like 5 or 6. So, I feel like, those are one of the people you could actually listen to because, if you're squatting 385 for a lot of reps, you probably are doing something right? I mean, he's only like 230, maybe. He's like 6'2". He's like pretty much the same height as me, but heavier. So I think he does a damn good job. And that's someone that you can kind of look up to and listen to. So, and he does coaching for powerlifting. So he gives me free advice. So he hasn't charged me yet, and I'm hoping he doesn't charge me in the future. But, he actually gets paid clients and whatnot on the side. So, yeah.
That's crazy that, like, man. It'd be really interesting to get him on the podcast. I'd love to talk to him because, like, if you were to throw a belt on, like, it might take him a while, but he could easily add weight to his total. Easily.
Oh, 395 for double. Sorry. Yeah, he sends me this. He sends me this picture. 395 for doubles. He goes.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. But and all he's using is I don't even know. You know what? That'd be a good question. He might use knee wraps or sleeves, but I know he doesn't use a belt most of the time. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't use knee wraps or sleeves. Even if he said no, he's just insane, man. The guy's a strong guy. I'd love to have him on. I'd love to have him on, Roman. So hopefully you don't mind. But yeah, episode 83, I think, or is it 82? 83? 84. Even better. Episode 84. Randy Moss. We're on the Randy Moss episode. Best wide receiver ever. And Roman would agree with me too, because he was actually a Patriot too. So
Heck yeah.
and he only has a Super Bowl ring with the Patriots. So Roman, I know Roman has much love for Randy Moss too. Or was he number 8? Or was he number 81? I think he was 81 on the Patriots.
81 on the Patriots. I think you're right. I don't think he has a Super Bowl ring with the Patriots.
Well, that's kind of sad.
We lost to the Giants that year. Remember, we went.
Was that the Odell? Was that the Odell Beckham like miracle catch, or is that?
No,
was that someone else?
It was Tyree who had the miracle catch on his helmet.
Oh, on his helmet. Yeah. Episode 84. Roman, I'm gonna let you kind of start this off and kind of explain what we're gonna talk about today, and then I'll kind of maybe ask you questions or maybe kind of get my thoughts on this. But yeah, go ahead, buddy. What are we talking about today?
So I've got like a PubMed definition for this up, but I'll just like intro it first. So if my face goes away, sorry, Gainz Nation. But we're talking about the acid ash hypothesis. So essentially, like what that's looking at is that certain diets have called for changing like the type of like essentially like the alkaline diet, for example, claims that if like the foods that you take in are too highly acidic, then they will leach calcium from your bones and like make you like early onset of like osteoporosis. So let me get a more exact definition for you here.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, Roman. I totally forgot to mention this in the beginning. But rest in peace, John Meadows. Great bodybuilder. I've watched a shit ton of videos of him with Jeff Nippard. And I know Jeff Nippard was like a really good friend of his, even though he was like, twice his age or 3 times the age. But yeah, he was I'm not going to say I've listened and watched a lot of his stuff, but I know he was like a renowned bodybuilder, and he pretty much told people like it was, even when he was, using drugs. So he even told like his story about using and like what the bodybuilding scene was and wasn't. So just wanted to throw that out there. I totally forgot to mention that in the beginning. Sorry about that, to interrupt you.
Yeah, all out amazing guy. Like very unexpected his passing. I was very sad when I learned about it. Yeah, if any of you have been like touched by like Mountain Dog, John Meadows, you can go to like Guy Sister Nino's page on Instagram, Fuad Abiad's, I think even Jeff Nipper, Jeff Cavalier. There's like many like quote unquote celebrities in the fitness industry that will have a link to the GoFundMe. Jeff Cavalier at AthleanX, I think he like put together a GoFundMe for
His wife and kids, right?
his wife and kids, yeah. It was like over $100,000, I think last night when I checked. So, yeah, if you've ever learned anything from the Mountain Dog, John Meadows, then I'm sure that would be like greatly appreciated. But yeah, rest in peace. What an amazing, like, unbelievable person. Yeah, very very sad.
It's at 193,000 already, so it's already doubled.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it sucks that he's gone, man. I like consumed like a lot of his content, and he was just like, it's clear like seeing and like hearing the stories from like the people around him, just how much he meant to them, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to acid ash hypothesis. We'll do our best to try to like represent this, give you good information here, folks. So once again, I pulled this just off of PubMed. It says the acid ash hypothesis posits that protein and grain foods, which okay, with a low potassium intake produce a diet acid load. Net acid excretion, which is referred to as NAE, increased urine calcium and release of calcium from the skeleton, leading to osteoporosis. So this was like a meta-analysis I looked at. I looked at a few of them meta-analyses. Pretty much like the conclusion was that they found that in the research studies that fit the criteria, that none of them actually ended up showing like a net calcium like reduction. Like the balance was like pretty much stayed the same. So this like does remain like a hypothesis. It's an interesting concept because my understanding is that like the phosphate will essentially like steal or borrow like one of the calcium ions, like I think through protonation. This is like not my area of like expertise at all, so my partner would probably be like, you're using that word wrong. But essentially what ends up happening is like these like acidic food sources will like pull, this is like what the hypothesis like states, that it'll pull calcium from your bones, like making them osteoporotic, or like essentially like what osteoporosis is like your bones are made of like this really fine mesh of calcium, essentially calcium deposits, and like other things too, like vitamin D contributes to calcium deposition in bones. And osteoporosis is like essentially like holes being created in your bones, kind of like I'm doing with like my fingers here. And it makes it so like your bones are much weaker and more prone to like fractures and injuries. So that's like a big risk for elderly individuals. As you get older, naturally your body begins to leach more and more calcium from your bones. I think there's like a couple of different like theories or hypotheses on why this is the case.
What about women too? Do they say anything about like
women in particular? Women are more prone to osteoporosis, I think, just based off of like what starts to occur during menopause. So during menopause, there's like pretty large fluctuations in like hormone balances, and estrogen is a really important hormone when it comes to maintaining good bone health. So this is something that like as like female listeners are like listening, as you like approach menopause, like this is something that like you want to talk to your general practitioner about. Like if you see like a sports therapist or like a physical therapist, like these are the kind of conversations that you want to have. And that's why like resistance exercise training is so important, as well as eating like a healthy, like well-rounded, like whole foods based diet, whatever that means for you. Because one of like the theories that I'm aware of that people believe like makes people more prone to osteoporosis is just like less load that they put on their skeleton. So like over time, it becomes like harder and harder for people to like go to the gym. They get like other commitments, kids, like graduation, like, this thing, that thing. It kind of pulls people away from actively working on their health. So that's why like going to the gym, like lifting like relatively heavy weights, like for yourself, whatever that means for you. Even just staying active, like going out in the garden, doing gardening, that kind of thing, like picking up a wheelbarrow, that is going to load the arms, that's going to load part of the trunk, that's going to load the legs. That stuff is like very, very healthy for you. The main reason why I wanted to bring this up to you all today was I actually heard somebody mention this, and like totally in innocence, like they thought this was like something to like legitimately look out for and to fear. But they thought that like milk was causing this. So some people have used the acid ash hypothesis and the alkaline diet, for example, to claim that milk is like hazardous for individuals, and that milk actually leaches calcium from your bones. That's like the complete opposite of what ends up happening. So I do want to make sure that I'm like very clear. There are populations that are sensitive to whey, to casein, and to lactose. So some populations, like en masse, that are pretty sensitive to cow's milk in particular are like African American or black populations. From my understanding, there wasn't a lot of consumption of dairy, especially like cow's milk, like from like the African continent, and that may be why that particular enzyme lactase is like so low in like the black population. So like if you are dark skinned, if you have like African American like heritage, like if you do like the 23andMe type dealio, that just might be something to like look out for. If you feel like you get like gassy, like indigestion, like bloating from drinking milk, like it could be something to talk to your doctor about. This isn't like I'm generalizing, but it's not going to be like the case for like every individual, but it is commonly the case for like members of like the black population to be sensitive to milk, for example. Other people to look out are just like anybody that's lactose intolerant. So that's a good amount of people. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I want to say I read since there was like 10 to 20% of like the U.S. population is lactose intolerant or something like that. So what some people will do if they really enjoy milk, because you can still consume milk like safely, is some people take like a lactate pill, which contains the lactase enzyme, which helps to cut the lactose sugar molecule so that it's not like harmful to your gut, etc., and doesn't cause you that like GI distress that many people report. Other people that also need to be aware of the consumption of milk are people that have a whey or a casein allergy. Those are both proteins that are present in most milks, most dairy products, to my knowledge, and you could actually have a severe reaction to that. So that could be anywhere between like 20 to 30% of the population that's either lactose intolerant or has an allergy to either casein or whey. Let's say give or take like 10%. But for everybody else, if you have a preference towards drinking milk, like there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And there's absolutely no evidence, to my knowledge, that suggests that milk is going to leach calcium from your bones and cause you to become like pre-osteoporotic. Quite the opposite.
Two things real quick. Are people way too sensitive? You mentioned so many groups, but does that mean they're just sensitive individuals that are just too sensitive for the world? I'm just that's a rhetorical question. I don't need an answer. I'm just stating that. The question that's more serious. You did mention milk quite a bit. And yeah, there's always those substitutes. I mean, you could probably get, I'm not too big in like actual like cow's milk as much, but I mean, almond milk states that there's quite a bit of calcium levels in it. But the question is, what about people like supplementing with like calcium itself? Is there any mention where like that helps out too?
Yeah, supplementation is always going to help. My knowledge is because it's not in like the proper ratios as it would be found like in like a particular food. So typically like supplementation of a nutrient such as like calcium would theoretically be like lower or like practically be lower, like potentially not theoretically, but practically it would be lower, is my understanding. So like, for example, if you can get your iron from like a food source that has, let's say like heme or non-heme iron, then that's preferable to taking like a dietary supplement such as like an iron pill. But if you have trouble getting like the amount of iron in, which like many women like in their like, you know, quote unquote childbearing years do have trouble getting enough iron because it's approximately like 18 milligrams a day or something like that, I think is the recommendation. So like you have to eat a lot of leafy greens if you don't eat red meat essentially. So that's it's a good amount of iron to get in. So that's just like a correlation that like I'm aware of. So does supplementation help? Yeah, absolutely. And that's like another thing that I'd like talk to your doctor about. But if you can get it from whole foods, that is preferable. So leafy greens like broccoli is going to be very high in calcium. You can get it from multiple dairy sources. I believe even you can get calcium from the consumption of meat, and also like bone broth and stuff like that. I believe that also has calcium in it. So many food sources.
And also, and you can also cook with bone broth too, which makes it easier. Yeah. Like we're not asking you, which Stan Efferding would say to tell you. We're not asking you to put it in a coffee cup and heat it up and drink it like it's fucking water. And I just noticed, man, I've been swearing a crap ton on this podcast. But I guess I'm glad I put it explicit. But we're not asking you to like put a whole cup of coffee of bone broth, and heat it up and drink it. Like you can cook with that stuff. You can make soups with it. You can, you can make, some pretty bomb like meals with bone broth too. So, also too, like, what I found, when I went to Chicago and I stayed there for a month with Sam, a lot of the times we weren't like cooking the whole foods that we were used to, like, making like every meal ourselves. We were either heating, leftovers up, or someone else was usually cooking for us. I found like, obviously supplementation, for Sam, because, we want to make sure her iron levels are pretty high and calcium levels. We were using like, athletic greens, which we would mix pretty much in our protein shakes, because being home, we obviously were slacking protein levels too. So we made it pretty much a daily effort to have like a scoop or two of athletic greens, and then we would mix it with our protein shake. So, obviously it wouldn't taste like anything, but, you would get your leafy greens and whatnot. And I know Roman's going to shake his head like, yeah, obviously we want to, eat the food. But, if you're in like a case of like traveling, you're in case of like vacation, or if you're back home, if you're out of state, and you need to get like that, those vitamins or those levels up to healthy levels to maintain health, then yeah, I like it. I know Andrew Huberman always promotes athletic greens. Honestly, I get the ones on Amazon, which do pretty well. It is quite expensive. So like what Roman was saying, like I'd rather buy the broccoli, buy the spinach, buy the kale, buy all that stuff and cook it, because like athletic greens is pretty expensive, and we're talking like it's at least like over $1 per serving. So, and I think that's expensive. So I mean, you might think it's not expensive, but someone like me, I just, we shop off in Perfect Foods. We get that delivered every week, and that helps us being healthy. Sam actually just got her blood work done like last week and just came back. Everything was really good. So, and we're in our 20s, our upper 20s. So, that's a good standpoint for like what you guys should be doing. You guys should all be trying to, get to as well. So.
Nice, buddy. Thanks for sharing that.
But overall, I would, since we have like probably like a minute or two left, Roman, what is the conclusion from the acid ash? What do you want to suggest to people? And for the last piece, I want you to give some motivational speech at the end of that, of course.
All right, buddy. So it's called hypothesis. It's the acid ash hypothesis. It's totally a valid hypothesis. It's okay to have this thought and then to investigate it, because maybe there will be more research in the future that says like there are certain foods to like stay away from. It just doesn't seem like it's borne out in the research from like the limited knowledge that I have. Like the little bit that I was able to look into this, it doesn't really like fit like with what I understand. There definitely are some groups that have some like onus to kind of like push this forward, but if you like foods that are on like the alkaline diet, there's nothing wrong with doing that. I just wouldn't I wouldn't expect it to do something magical like de-acidify your blood or something like that. Like your body has like all these feedback loops so that it can make sure that the blood's pH stays in a very, very narrow, tight band. So nothing like magical about any types of diets that people like might try to push. Hopefully after you've listened to this, you can kind of this will help like educate you. It'll like put on your radar if you hear somebody say like, oh, these foods are leaching like calcium from our bones. Like not likely if they're referring back to this like acid ash hypothesis, or they like reference like the alkaline diet. Once again, like nothing wrong with the alkaline diet as long as people like give it to you straight, like these like types of foods, like as long as they're high in fiber, are like satiating and will help like make you feel full, like that type of deal. Like that's totally fine to say. Just don't fall for people who are saying like this is like de-acidifying your blood or something like that. That's a load of garbage. That's pretty much it on my end, folks. The big thing that I wanted to get across was I'm a huge lover of milk. I did actually just find a milk product that doesn't sit with me too well. I've done like some experiments, and I found that it actually like makes me like really bloated. So I'm just gonna stay away from it. I'm gonna buy different brands. But I consume probably like 2 to 3 servings of dairy every single day between like cheese, milk, like whey protein, and Greek yogurt. So it's a huge part of like my diet. Whey protein, for like anybody that's involved in fitness, is like one of the highest, most like bioavailable proteins. So if you don't have an allergy or an intolerance to lactose, then I think it's a completely viable source of protein that like I want to have available to people if they want to consume it.
Yeah, and also to that point, last thing, and then we'll let you guys go. I mean, look at Roman's skin. I mean, look at it's flawless. I mean, people always say like stay away from dairy, like you'll get acne. I mean, I think I eat on a typical day. Like I don't drink cow milk as much. I just drink almond milk. But usually it's like I'll have Greek yogurt. I'll have maybe a whey protein source. And then at night before bed, I've been eating cottage cheese and pineapple before bed. So I'm in like the same boat as Roman. I'm like 2 to 3 servings a day when it comes to like milk or cow dairy products, milk products, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, as I say, I think Roman and I do pretty well. I mean, I have like some forehead like bumps here and there, but like I mean, if you look at Roman's skin, he's got like. I mean, if he shaved, you probably would never see a dimple or pimple or anything on his face. So I think you do a good job with that stuff. But sweet, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in to episode 84. We're on all audio and video platforms. If you don't see us on one, please let us know, and we'll try our best to get on there if you guys prefer like another way to listen. And then we'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure to find us on Instagram. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.